What's up? What's up, guys? This is Brian McDonough. This is the DOOP or Die podcast, and I'm here alongside Drew Monroe. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for coming and talking about the Union with me. It's exciting. I'm excited for this episode.
We got a lot to cover today. I don't really want to talk about the Champions League semifinal match against LAFC. We won't talk about that. Instead, we'll focus on an away win for the Philadelphia Union, 3 points against the New York Red Bulls on Saturday, May 6th. Drew, before we get started, I kind of want to play a quick clip from Jim Curtin in the presser following the match. Just listen to what he had to say about last night's match. This kind of gives you the full picture.
Let's do it.
No soccer tonight. Literally there was no passing from either team. There was nothing really other than fighting. And again, sometimes when we get together with Red Bull, it's a street fight. You get punched in the mouth. Are you going to get up or are you going to get scared? You're going to punch back. So I thought we stood up. I thought we punched back. Was it a perfect game? No. Did we play good attacking soccer? No. But again, 3 points goes a long way for the group right now, and hopefully it instills some confidence. And 1-0 wins are still important. Keeping a clean sheet on the road is not easy.
Yeah, clean sheet on the road, 1-0 win against your rival. What are your thoughts?
The biggest thing, obviously, is 3 points on the road finally. I think their first away win this season. So it's good that it came against our rival team. It's good that we got a win, especially off a midweek loss. But, yeah, he was right. Like, both teams looked pretty flat. Kind of looked like tired. I don't know. It didn't look like the typical New York Red Bull Union game. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I thought so too. And the one thing about the Red Bulls, and we'll play a couple more sound clips from Jim Curtin, because I thought what he had to say after the match was really important. Just about kind of summarizing the match, and it shows that he's plugged in with the fan base. The team looked very sluggish, but that's expected. They've played the most games in MLS, Drew, in the past month, I'd say.
Yeah, they have a lot with CCL midweek, and then they have obviously the MLS games. Now they're gonna have Open Cup too. It's a lot.
Yeah, U.S. Open Cup on Tuesday night in Minnesota. We're talking now. I'm gonna play another sound clip from Jim Curtin talking about the upcoming schedule, and we can kind of break that down and also look ahead at some of the matches they have upcoming with Colorado and New England. So here's Jim Curtin last night after the match talking about the difficulties of this schedule for his Union squad.
We have a target for, it started with the Toronto game, the block of 5 games in league. Obviously, we had the Champions League mixed in. We've played the most games in MLS right now. So the guys, I feel bad for them. They're away from their families all the time. We're in planes and eating 100 meals together and probably quite sick of each other already early on in the season. I give them a ton of credit. I don't think that's the thing that people realize. The grind of being on the road. We'll have a quick regen tomorrow, then we'll be back on the charter flight to Minnesota. Nice regional game against Minnesota that we drew in the Open Cup. Comes at a tough time for sure. So this is the schedule we have to play. We'll have a plan in place. Obviously, I touched on with Jonathan, and I mean it. We're going to have to rotate. We're going to change a lot in the Open Cup. We're going to recover as quick as we can. Try and get a result against Colorado. And then just a little bit unlucky that we have to play home against DC and turn around and play a fresh New England team who doesn't have a game midweek. So that'll be hard. And the hardest one in that stretch will certainly be, look, all the games are hard, but the New England one, when we have all that travel on our legs and the difficulty of a Wednesday game, and they're a very good team. So, it's a busy stretch now of 4 really tough and important games. I targeted in that 5-game block of our next 5 games, starting with the Toronto one. I know it's confusing now with all the different things, but before Toronto, we said this 5-game block, we need 10 plus points, and that was a good starting point to get 6 right away. And I said 10 is conservative, and I'm being nice to you guys because I know we're capable of more. We have.
So you heard him.
Yeah.
10 points overall in that 6-game block. We're capable of more. Do you think Curtin's kind of setting the bar a little bit too low there for this Philadelphia Union squad?
I mean, I would say yes. I think obviously we all know the Union is not the same team it was last season in terms of even scoring goals. I think they're the only goals, like most of the goals they've scored, like for example, Gazdag, all of his 7 goals this season, in general, have all been penalty kicks. You know what I mean? So like even he's only able to score off, a set piece penalty kick. Like I feel like the team is lacking going forward. And yeah, I'm sure playing a lot of games is going to be a big impact, and it is. And I really hope that he does do some good rotations for the game against Minnesota midweek, so that way we're a little more fresher, going to Colorado on Saturday.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Away in Minnesota, then you're out in Colorado, and then you come back. It's a Saturday match in Colorado. Then you come back to face DC at home and then New England at home. It's a DC team that's struggling slightly under Wayne Rooney, but they're definitely better than last season. And it's a New England team that's topping the Eastern Conference right now. Bruce Arena knows how to get it done on the road, especially.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 tough games, especially the New England game's going to be really tough because we're going to come off that midweek game playing against a New England team who's way more fresher. Because like Jim Curtin said, they don't have a midweek game, so that just adds more pressure again, I guess, to our team, to our players, and our head coach.
That's exactly right. And I don't want to beat a dead drum here, but I thought that the presser last night with Curtin really was kind of telling of a couple more things. One thing we did see was Corey Burke. We saw Corey Burke coming against the Union last night. Big physical player who had success with the Philadelphia Union, a fan favorite, clubhouse favorite. Drew, just from being at the match and witnessing, there's a couple chances between Corey and Kai. I saw one point they both looked up at each other and kind of almost slowed down because I think they got a little confused. They're so used to playing with each other there.
Not really against each other like that. That's crazy.
And there's so much respect out there. Obviously, Damian Lowe, Andre Blake, fellow Jamaican internationals, and then the whole Union roster there. So here's Jim Curtin on Corey Burke last night, who had a really good chance to almost tie the match for New York Red Bulls, but failed to do so. So let's hear Jim Curtin on Corey Burke.
The margins are really small, so even at the very end of the game, Harper whips in a good ball, and if you can, I started to see Corey time it and go up, and if Damian just doesn't bump him a little bit to knock him off balance, you get one of those free headers for Corey Burke instead of one that there's a body on him and it goes soft in Andre's hands. So the margins are really tight. So Corey was close on a few plays. He's a fighter. He's a battler. He'll kick you. He'll compete the right way. I thought he did a good job. But overall, our center backs came out on top tonight because clean sheet's important, and Andre certainly was a big part of that as well.
So here, Jim. Clean sheets are important. Andre was a big part of that. He had a massive save in that match, a huge save, which we're accustomed to. What did you see last night from the Red Bull attack, which I thought was kind of struggling? Do you think the Union had something to do with that?
Yeah, I think the Union, obviously, like Jim said, our defense did its job yesterday. Andre Blake coming out on top as usual, like we expect him to do. But the Red Bulls are also struggling this season, in terms of attacking. Like they have a striker, who's controversial now, who's not really in the mix right now. But when he comes back, let's see if he actually can add some firepower for the Red Bulls. I think they had the lowest number of scored goals in the Eastern Conference. I think they have 7, which is dead last, and they are dead last on the table. Like they're having a lot of trouble trying to score goals, and that's good for us, I guess, that night.
Yeah, it's been a tough season for the Red Bulls so far. Like you said, on the pitch, off the pitch, a lot of criticism. Being at the match last night, the Viking Army, the atmosphere has completely changed there. I think the days of Dax McCarty, Sasha Kleshchin, Thierry Henry, all those players, right?
The golden days for them.
Under Jesse Marsh, under Mike Pecky, it's completely changed. And I'm not going to say it's Red Bulls coach's fault. I mean, you need to get better results. Yeah. I think it might be time for them to make a change. But it's tough right now. The fans have to decide, are they, for the Red Bulls' sake, are they going to keep putting up with mediocrity, or are they going to kind of take a stand? I think right now they seem to be taking a stand.
And that's good. They should, because, New York's supposed to be one of the biggest spots for soccer, just like LA is for LA Galaxy, and how they're struggling too. And they need to speak, their fans are also voicing their concerns with their struggling team. New York Red Bull fans should also be doing the same thing. Like you said, I think they are speaking up, and they want to see better results. Like this is not the Red Bulls that their fans and us as rival teams are expecting every season. Like this is a totally different team.
This is a totally different team. You're exactly right. The one thing the Union did really well last night, I thought, was press continuously, even despite the fact that they were really tired. I mean, Tolkien on the left side is a real menace. He's a tough player. They don't have the scoring power. The striker Van Zier obviously is out, as you said. But kind of keeping Corey Burke in check. We're gonna go to Jim Curtin one more time, Drew.
That's good. Yeah, I think it's so cool how you got that the audio clips.
Yeah. I was up there, Drew, with the Rebels with the media pass last night, and I got some access, which is really cool. It was a room of like 5 or 6 of us and Jim Curtin. And I gotta say, I knew Jim was a nice guy, but he's a really, really good guy. Just making time to talk to the members of the media.
He
just
seems humble guy.
Down to earth Philly guy. You kind of feel like you're talking to your uncle, honestly, or something like that. He just is a really cool dude. Although, don't get it mixed though. On the sidelines, I saw him getting frustrated with the ref a couple times. He picks his spots. He knows when to speak up. He wouldn't have a winning record if it wasn't for the way he manages. So
exactly.
The strategy of the Rebels. Let's hear a little bit about that. The game plan the Union took into last night. And this was almost, I think, he knows he's rotating a lot of players, Jim Curtin. So this was definitely a strategy in place.
Rebels is a team that changes formation quite a bit. They've changed in game a lot as well. So, we talked about it being about us. We have a way of pressing out of the diamond, whether a team plays in the back 3 or a back 4 that we like to think is synchronized and on the same page. With the way Tolkien gets forward and Harper on the other side, they present some problems, but it was important to get out to them and release and go our outside back to their wing back, which leaves your center backs isolated. So it was a really good day for Damian Lowe and for Jacob Glessens, because they're basically playing against 2 strikers and 2 athletic, fast strikers. But Corey was excellent tonight and was a handful, but we did a good job of denying out in the wide areas, making blocks, not allowing free entries into the box. And Andre made a few big saves, don't get me wrong, and you need that on the road, but for the most part, I thought we limited their chances. There wasn't a ton where they were coming at us in waves. So I thought it was a good defensive effort.
I apologize for my nasally. You can hear me breathing heavily.
You were just starstruck.
I was starstruck, exactly right. So you heard the man. You heard El Jefe talking about what we did last night against the Rebels.
Yeah, I think they absorbed the pressure when they were under pressure from the Red Bulls, like with Corey and Tolkien coming up the side. I think that our defense absorbed it well. We managed it well. Obviously, we had to because we got a clean sheet out of it. So I think we did a good job managing the New York Red Bulls' struggling attack.
We made it tough for them. They didn't really get any clear shots on goal besides that Corey Burke header where you heard Damian Lowe kind of stuck in there and was able to, in a way, pull Corey down. So he kind of wasn't able to time that header. That's big for the Union. Damian Lowe coming in off the bench at center back in place for Jack Elliott. Mbaizo wasn't playing last night. Leon Flock was out there. I thought he played well. Bueno got some good time on the pitch. It looks like overall the Union defense last night, when you're tired, when you've been running for the past 2 weeks in a row, and Gazbog's legs are tired, Carranza's legs are tired, even Donovan got some time last night off the bench. It's huge for that defense to be able to recover, and they did last night.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need that defense to stay fit and strong for the rest of the season because we got some points to make up here.
Let's talk about points real quick, and then we'll wander our way down. This is a shorter podcast, guys, today because, we did all of our introductions last week. But once again, this is a DOOP or Die podcast, episode 2, coming at you guys weekly. We always launch the audio on Sunday or Monday as quickly as possible. And the video is also up on YouTube on the State of Soccer Philadelphia channel. So make sure to subscribe to us via Spotify, Amazon, podcast, Buzzsprout, wherever you listen. And we're on YouTube as well. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But Drew, man, points. That's the nature of the game. And you heard Jim Curtin earlier on in the presser talking about 6 points over the course of these matches. We got Minnesota on the road. We have Colorado on the road, DC at home, and New England at home.
Yeah.
His goal is 10 points from that Toronto Red Bulls, Colorado, DC, New England game. I don't think he was necessarily talking about the U.S. Open Cup, or excuse me, the Champions League or U.S. Open Cup.
No. I know he just meant like just the MLS matches. 1, 2, 3.
Let's quickly talk about the Minnesota match, and then those 3 matches up to New England on May 20th. We'll of course preview that later on. But Minnesota, real quick, away against the Loons, Open Cup. What do you think about that match?
The Open Cup magic, anything can happen. Just like the FA Cup, U.S. Open Cup can also have its own type of magic in the American way. But Minnesota, a team kind of like us right now, middle of the table in their conference. Nothing too bad, nothing too good. I think it's going to be a pretty good, solid game. I expect us to win. I know we're away from home. I know we're tired. I know we're looking at the games ahead. But I think if we can grind out another 1-0 win with another Gazdag penalty, I'll take it.
So I'm going to be a realist here, and the Sons of Ben, the Union supporters might not like this. I do believe we dropped that game against Minnesota, but I think we bounced back with 3 points at Colorado, 3 points against DC, and a draw against New England at home on that Saturday. So I think you'd be looking at essentially 7 more points to the 6 we've already gotten, so that'd be 13. The goal was 10. But I think just like last year, we might get bounced in the round of 32. It's tough to play at Minnesota midweek on a Tuesday after this game where I could not believe Alejandro Bedoya last night at his age, just running like he does.
Yeah. After all the games he's played, in a row, just coming off the midweek CCL game, like he is definitely a great captain, a great player on the pitch. And like, you can feel the team is different when he's not playing. Like you're missing that. His absence is really felt in that midfield when he's off.
Oh, captain, my captain. Yeah, he definitely is a legend. Would you say at this point, Alejandro Bedoya is Latu's irreplaceable in a way because it's the founding of the franchise. He came over, was our first
top goal scorer,
all-star, but is Bedoya the guy when you're looking at the Mount Rushmore of I hate that phrase. When you're looking at the Mount Rushmore of the Philadelphia Union players, 2010 on, who's up there?
Just Freddie Adu. That's it.
Well, there's 5 faces on Mount Rushmore, right? So let's do this real quick. Latu's up there for sure.
Yeah, Andre Blake.
Okay.
Hell yeah, Andre Blake. I would definitely say Alejandro Bedoya.
Can you put a coach up there? You put Jim Curtin up there?
Yeah, I can put, if you want. Yeah, it's all about the whole union. It's the whole team. Coach is part of the team. He makes the team. Yeah, Jim Curtin. So we need one more face.
Now, the last face is tough because Brendan Aronson, of course, was electric for the team the time he was here, but he wasn't here that long.
No.
McKenzie, same thing. And we sold him for a lot of money. It's great for the union.
Would you put someone like Glesnes up there?
You could.
Or would you go back? Would you go back in time more?
Maybe even go back in time. Like maybe even a Ray Gaddis, who
Ray Gaddis.
When it comes to caps, and just being we didn't win much overall with him around. It wasn't really to his fault.
No,
but
he was still solid, I think.
We'll leave that up to the Union supporters. Whoever won, the Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia Union soccer so far, that last position. So we said Jim Curtin, Andre Blake, Sebastian Latu,
Alejandro
Bedoya. That's 4. We need one more.
Just one more. So that's up to you guys watching, listening. Reach out to us anywhere. Comment if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know who you guys think deserves that 5th head on Mount Rushmore for Philly Union team.
This is this 5th head. We didn't come with a plan to talk about this, but I just kind of it's interesting because when you're
I feel good about our picks. I think those and I think most Philly fans would agree. Like those 4 guys are definitely the faces of Union's success or history in general. Like I think those are good, solid 4 picks.
So one thing, I have my Celtic Lisbon Lions up there banner. Jock Stein, who is the famous Celtic manager, said that football is nothing without its fans. It's actually on the back side of their patch on the Celtic jersey.
Okay.
Could we put the Sons of Ben as the 5th face of Mount Rushmore, or is that kind of cliche?
It's cliche, but Sons of Ben is cool though.
We just put Ben Franklin's face up there.
Just Ben, just the actual Ben Franklin guy.
I think Ben Franklin was he invented everything, dude. The first post office, the first public school, the printing press,
electricity.
I think he's kind of responsible for bringing the Union franchise to Philadelphia in a way too.
For sure,
in a roundabout way.
Yeah, so I guess you can make an argument for having supporters team like the Sons of Ben on there, but I'd still want to see a play or something there.
You think Ben Franklin would be a capo if he was still around? Like, would he just be up in the owner's box owning the club? I think that's probably more likely.
He'd be there all the he would be like the owner of the team for sure, and he would like pick who he wants to pick as manager, or who's going to buy for the team. He would be a big face for MLS in general, like as a league. Like, can you imagine though Ben Franklin alive right now watching the Union play against Red Bulls?
My history nerd going at me, but he was the first ambassador to France. I feel like we'd have a lot of Ligue 1 players coming over for the Union, possibly. He could speak French. He'd be a good ambassador to the game abroad too.
Yeah, he would actually be good at marketing the team, or maybe even the league abroad. He would be really good.
What would his alcohol of choice be though? Because I know the guy liked to party too. So do you think he'd be happy with the alcohol representation? Would he be a Sterling Pig guy? Would he be cracking down on Heine's? What would he be doing at Subaru Park match day?
He looks like a Stella Artois guy.
I think so too. I could see
just drinking a Stella, kicking back with his bifocals, just chilling.
He'd be sitting back with the bifocals, getting
Yeah,
I don't know, or you just go for the hard liquor too, possibly
with his kite in his hand.
With his, all right. Well, with that, guys, this is Doop or Die episode number 2. Hope we brought you guys some entertainment. I hope you learned something new about the Union. Hope you enjoyed those. We'll try to do more from Jim Curtin. I thought that it's kind of cool. It's a cool setup to let the coach speak.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people don't get to see or listen to that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Or it's not prevalent enough out there. So I think bringing it to you guys, the fans, is what matters most. But once again, 5th head on Mount Rushmore. Who is it? Comment below on YouTube. Hit us up on Twitter. Drew, where can they find you too?
You guys can find me on YouTube, Kicking It with Drew on YouTube, or you can find me on Twitter with at Kicking It W Drew. So
I know this is a Union podcast, but I'm a big David Beckham guy, and I have this right here, Drew. David Beckham and Landon Donovan autograph, which is kind of I know there was always like the feud over the two, and you can't see this on the podcast. I apologize, but it's a picture of them arm in arm, autoed. I know you just did the LA Galaxy episode. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that was a cool episode.
Oh, my video?
Your most recent video. Yeah.
I just made a video, The Rise and Fall of LA Galaxy, where I really just go over the history of the Galaxy, how much success they had, and now how they're kind of down in the dumps, kind of a whole different kind of team. And I mentioned they actually remind me of a team like Manchester United, who both of them, LA Galaxy and Man U, had some big time success back in the day. Now they're both lost their long serving managers who gave them all that success. And now they both have a noisy neighbor team who's kind of just taking over their city, taking over the league. Kind of overshadowing their old success. So I would say check it out. It's pretty cool. I worked hard on it. I actually wrote a script for it. I didn't just talk, randomly.
in a microcosm of U.S. soccer at a micro level, it kind of is the Manchester City, Man United.
Yeah.
Guys, cool. Well, we're MLS supporters here. We're obviously Philadelphia Union supporters, but first and foremost, once again, this is the Doop or Die podcast. Signing off. Go Union. Take care, everyone. Peace out.